Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome Nabil.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here today,
Likewise.
sharing with us your remarkable journey at Nestle and all your extensive knowledge of navigating diverse cultures, international assignments. Nabil has over 30 years of professional experiences and he has relocated 6 times so far and has been living the expat life for the past 20 years, which is very impressive. And we feel very lucky to have you here today.
Thank you.
So as an expat who lived and worked in multiple countries, could you please share some insights into the role that accommodation plays in your overall expat experience?
Thank you for that. Thank you for having me, and pleasure to meet you all. I'm happy to be here. I was listening before to the gentlemen and gentlewomen on the data. I'm one of this data, so I'm here to share my personal experience only, right? I'm not the data that you work on every day. So for me, 6 countries, this is what's on LinkedIn, but for me, emotionally, it's 5 farewells. So, you know, we go there, you build friendship, you meet people, and you connect emotionally to people, right? And to colleagues. So for me, 6 countries means 5 farewell, which means it's a lots of emotional thing. And as Vivi said in the beginning, you know, human nature, we seek stability. So being an expat is the odd one out, right? We seek instability because the rush of it is understanding languages, cultures, you know, this is what's driving this instability because there's something for you in return. So having said that, 5 farewells means you lost all the support functions or support system that you have. So you're far from family, you're far from friends, you go to a new country, people are nice, but you don't know them yet, you don't have that relationship. So for me, housing comes as important as school. I don't want to put number 1 and 2, because this is the only anchor you have for at least 6 months where you still have a family, where you can make sound of it. It sounds like something emotionally you. So for me, the house really becomes home. Home in terms of emotional connection. This is where things happen, and this is the only safety net that you have in the beginning before you know, meet people and. So for me, housing is a priority.
Thank you for that. And as an expat with a family, which we can see here, a very lovely family, I have to say.
Thank you.
How important it is that the accommodation meets the needs of all the family, let's say location, amenities, proximity to schools, etc.
Yeah, look, choosing a house is very personal. You have hundreds of criteria. But I can share one thing happened in my last housing choice. It was a bit wrong. So I was traveling a lot in the job, and my wife got ill, severely ill, that she had to call a doctor to the house. So for me, you know, as an expat, I always have my phone in front of me because, you know, you get the call and there's nobody there to support, so I'm there. So I cut my travel, business travel, because the priority was back home. So I cut my business travel and went there to support the family. Because we chose wrong that it was not part of a community, it was more like a standalone place, and I didn't think it was the right choice. So we had to move again, because again, the priority was really in the beginning to build a sense of home, a sense of community, a sense of support system. So yeah, so the choice of the house is critical. And I always tell my colleagues who are, you know, moving for the first time is that over-invest time and money maybe to really find the proper housing.
Yeah, that's a really nice story. Thank you. Trying to change the slide.
It's okay, it's a good slide. Don't you agree?
Okay, yeah, so I found this very interesting statistics that 40% or 4 out of 10 all overseas assignments actually fail. And if we look at the next slide, the cost of failure is very high. On average, a cost of an expat assignment can amount over 300K per year. So, you know, getting a relocation right is very, very important, and it has a business impact as well, not just the impact on the life of expats. So, in your opinion, how much of an impact does it have on your overall well-being and happiness of you and your family when relocating?
Yeah. Look, this might be helpful for the panel before for the ROI. I don't know if you want to calculate ROI, you can take that number. Look, for me, it's a choice. Again, we are all blessed, I think. It's a blessing to have a choice, right? So for me and my partner, so we chose that life until now. We're still in that mode. So it's a choice. So the impact is, we understand the impact, and it doesn't get easier because people think, yeah, you're moving, you know how it is. Yeah, maybe we know what it is, but the emotions you go through, seeing the boxes in the house, again, the farewells, all of this, you cannot get used to this thing. It gets you, it touches you, no matter how, you know, you want to be rational about it. You try to rationalize, but at the end of the day, reality kicks in, and you have to say bye-bye, and you have to start all over. So the impact is very good as well in terms of our choice is we learn, you know, we are in progressive. So me and my wife, we are in this progression that we think that by being exposed, we are lucky to be exposed to cultures, diversity. This really enrich our lives, enrich the relationship as well, and definitely this will go directly or indirectly to the kids as well. So we are so happy, and I'm very proud that my kids are really like, they eat all food, you know, they are really open-minded, actually, not like, you know, because they have to be or it is good to look like, you know, I'm modern or stuff like that. So I really like, just a simple example of food, like my kids love all kinds of food, which I find like, wow, they're really globalized. And, you know, in today's world, this is, you know, global mobility. Everybody's being globalized in a way or the other. Mm-hmm. So lots of positive impact, but also, sorry, if I might add, emotional impact that I mentioned, but also, you know, people think of expatriation always as sexy, but when you're far from family, again, while you age as well, you have family and friends and parents who are not doing well, and you're really far from there, to be there in the last moment. So it really holds a big weight for you emotionally again. And this is not written, right? You don't read it in textbook or something like that, but when you lose someone while you're away, you are not really there. So the impact is both and right. But at the end of the day, as I started, it's a decision, and every decision has pros and cons. Expats is not for everybody, it's a choice.
It's a lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yes, yes. Again, I mean, choice, lifestyle. Life is complex, right?
Yeah. So on that note, what would be some key factors that you would like to share with global mobility managers that they should consider when evaluating relocating an employee, especially one with a family, to a new country?
Yeah, of course. Look, I've been listening carefully to the panel, and there's no wrong or right, again, you know, but for me, I have some challenges, and I agree with something. For me, the people are nice. I've never met in my 30 years of life anybody in a company who is not nice, right? They are genuinely good intention, they want to help you, they understand it. Now, for me, the suggestion of global mobility people is to look at the bigger picture, and I would jump more to the total compensation and benefits, right? Because, like, for me, I have benefits of 100, maybe a car, meal card, housing, and stuff like that. And this is fixed in the P&L, so I'm not saying, like, increase the amount or something like that, just to make the CEO or the management comfortable that no gain, no loss on the money. However, I would really like flexibility and empowerment. I like to feel empowered. Let's say in this job that I have, I don't really need a car. Or if I need a car, it's not in the amount that the company decided that I have to have. So for me, I would take that money, flexing, back to what you were insinuating too. I'm more in flexibility. You know, you have this lump sum, or whatever, not cash, but let me choose if I want to have a fancy car or the house is important. In my case, it's always I overinvest in the house. Again, back to the initial point, because it is the only anchor that I have, the only one. That's so for me, I like to call the global mobility people to see the big picture, and then democratize it in terms of flexibility to give more empowerment to the people who are moving, because everybody has a lifestyle. Again, I'm not here to judge, but let them make the choice how they would like to, you know, invest that money depending on the situation they are in. Kids, no kids, couple, no couples, they have a dog, they need outdoors. I don't know, it's very big, and it's not about the company to decide. But today, like, yeah, I mean, the new generation might want to ride a scooter, right? They don't need a car. But in the system, say, okay, you have a car, I'll get a car. So give the empowerment back, or a sense of empowerment, so that it makes them feel the settlement is much easier because it's already tough.
Thank you. And about some memorable experiences or lessons learned during your expat journey that could be valuable for our audience here today?
Yeah, I'm not sure valuable, but it's a funny one, actually. So in South Korea, we had an apartment with a terrace. It was on the roof. So one evening, you know, me and my wife, we're having some drinks, and we opened the terrace to find our neighbors are there. So for me, it was like, you know, it's on top that you are wearing comfortably or not wearing comfortably. And you see like strangers, right? Also, like, you are new in a new culture, in a new country. So for me, there was a big gap in explaining to us one cultural thing, what contracts, you know, what is included in the contract of the house and what is not. So there's some, like, you know, like things that are not written in the contract, but they are like practice, which becomes maybe legal because they are practiced. So for me, there should be more time emphasized before really signing in this one. And it's not only for the global mobility people, also for the people who are moving. I think I'm always suggesting to people who are moving, just put time, make it a priority, because if you need a good anchor, you need to make sure that the anchor is right. Before, you know, rushing in the business because you're excited, you have a new role, new business, put some time in the house, you know, find your way in. So yeah, that's for me an experience that I still remember with my wife. It's funny now, but at that time it was really like awkward.
Thank you. I would like to give some time to the audience in case you want to ask any questions. It's a unique opportunity to speak to a professional expat directly. Any questions?
Thank you. Hi. I was curious to know how much cultural training, education did you get for all your moves? What was it that impacted it or helped you, or the disadvantages?
Yeah, for me, I got none. You know, I had to do it. Again, it's an ownership. Again, for me, this is my decision. So for me, I educate myself before. But at least companies, what they usually do, they offer languages. So, and I think language is the key to the culture. I think this is okay, but definitely they can do much more.
Yes.
They can do definitely much more. I mean, there are books, lots of books. There are lots of, I mean, on Google you can find lots of things. But at the end of the day, maybe, yeah, for people who need coaching, I think it should be available. Because language is like, I think they tick the box with languages.
That's impressive. You've done it yourself, but cultural awareness is very important for people moving, and even in the global mobility space.
Exactly.
Well done.
Good morning. Fantastic speech, really interesting. Given that you've moved 5 times, I'm assuming that you've moved potentially on more than one different policy. And you spoke about wanting flexibility, but I'd be really interested to hear about maybe some of the specifics of those different policies and how it's changed over your expat career, I guess.
Yeah, definitely when moving to Europe, you know, tax becomes a big thing, right? I was in Asia most of the time. In Asia, like everything, like school benefit, right? You just send the invoice and that's it. Here, you know, it is tax, so all benefits are taxed. So for me, tax is it's very complex. And for me, before, you know, okay, no matter how much HR can explain to you the taxation, it's still complex. So for me, the policy should be, in terms of tax, very clear, or at least if it's not clear, the companies should clarify, because tax in itself, again, it's really complex. So I really was surprised when I moved to Europe about the taxation. Okay, I understand now, but before, I'm not European to understand the taxation. I think Europeans are born with tax. They have it in their, you know, I mean, you take decisions based on taxes, right?
Where are you from, Nabil?
I'm from Lebanon originally. So in Asia, usually tax is very pragmatic, right? In Europe, it's very complex. So this is the policy. Two, the policy of education. Again, an expat is not wrong or right because, you know, the European model, if you want to be like stereotyping, right? It's double income public school, right? Like this is the mass of the people, which is nice. You get the cultural, the public transport and stuff like that. It's a continent model, right? And the EU model, same currency. But for people coming in, we don't know that, right? So it's not double income from day one because if I'm, in my case, I'm the steady income thing and my wife is more inflexible. So she cannot find a job in like the first day that we join. Again, in my LinkedIn, before joining here, I asked for comments, so people are asking for dual career. Again, it's important. So policy is very different, and for me, yeah, it should be more pragmatic. Again, any policy for me should start by the objective, not cost, not budget, to empower the person to make the decisions for themselves. I think that should be the objective. And then, of course, within budget, within blah, blah, all of these things. I mean, I'm a corporate guy, I understand budget. But the objective of the policy should really be to empower the person, depending, you know, because, and this is also put under diversity. Because for me, diversity now, which is truly said, like on gender, ethnicity, but also diversity of lifestyle. I mean, you don't want people in your company with the same lifestyle. You know, this is the enriching. So any policy that should be I think my input would be to put empowerment at its heart.
Okay, I think we're, any more questions? We have 1 or 2 minutes left.
There, the lady next to them.
Not that you're not going to hear enough of me today, I also have a question. Obviously, we've heard your journey, but having been in this experience myself, I would love to understand how this journey impacted upon your wife and specifically her career. How empowered was she and how supported was she during this journey as well?
Oh, great question. Look, for me, the only rock that I have is my wife, and she sacrificed a lot, I can tell you. I mean, she's career-oriented, well-educated, and stuff like that. So for me, she's the person who's paying the highest price. You know, it's really hard, and I appreciate that. But also, the company should appreciate that more, right? I mean, there are policies who consider, again, back to the policies, the spouse. Let's not call it wife or husband or something like that. But still, it's not enough because they have to suffer more. But hoping now, like, I wish I was younger because now, like AltoVita, I mean, I know you guys work across the globe, right? So I think this is good. So the problems she had to face, I don't think the new generation of women or men or any gender will have to face because they have a choice now to work from whatever they are. So exploitation like me might become obsolete, but there's a new kind of digital nomads. I mean, there will always be a need of traveling, of exploring. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, my rock in my life is my wife.
Thank you so much, Nabil. Please join me in thanking him for sharing his experience with us today. And thank you for shedding the light on the invaluable role that mobility plays in shaping the modern workforce. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.